Good morning, lovely feminine friends. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Today we're going to talk about feminine speech, particularly improvements or things that I'm working on when it comes to my feminine communication. I've already made videos in the past talking about how to speak like a lady, feminine communication, basically the topic that we're talking about today. However, I've noticed that some of the things that I've advocated for in the past that I felt as though I have mastered, I really hadn't totally mastered, in the sense of like my life changing, obstacles, all those kinds of things that can put me back a little bit and needing to work on my feminine communication essentially. You will get a better idea of what I'm talking about in the next couple minutes because I'm going to elaborate. But before I get into the video, I'd like to encourage anybody who's new here to please hit the subscribe button. It actually means so much to me. I've been making videos for a couple years, and every day I'm honestly so thankful for those of you who keep coming back to the channel and for all the new supporters. If you'd also like to take it a step further and support my channel and my message even more, I have opened the memberships portion of this channel. I'm going to link it down below where you can find that. There are more videos there that I will be uploading in the next couple weeks, and it's just basically more of this type of content, but over on a more personable space. As always, I have to say, the whole YouTube spiel, please like the video if it's something you enjoy, and I read all of my comments, so you can leave a comment down below, and I'd love to discuss more on what you're working on when it comes to feminine communication. So let's get right into the video, and the first point I want to talk to you about what I'm trying to improve with regards to my feminine communication is my pitch. I have noticed going back on my channel, some videos I have a higher pitch and some a lower pitch. A couple people noticed that when I was pregnant with my son, I had a lower pitch, like I was speaking deeper, more of a masculine tone, and I'm not sure if there's like biology behind that, being pregnant with a boy, but I definitely do notice when I compare that to other videos. And even today, I'm not necessarily saying that I started making videos when I was like 24, I think, that I want to go back to having a super high, more girlish pitch like when I was younger, because of course I am now in my 30s, and I think that it's okay to display more maturity in your pitch. There is something to be said about being in a highly masculine society having an impact on your pitch. There's a reason why we say being in the hustle culture, grinding in your masculinity breeds more masculine characters in women and causes for them to feel less satisfaction in life because they're repressing their feminine side. The same can be extracted to how it affects your mannerisms, the way that you talk, the way that you engage with other people in a softer manner when you're talking to them. All those things are affected when you spend more time in male spaces. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't have a career. All those who want to come on my channel, I'm not telling you what you have to do with your life goals. It's just being mindful about when you are in more of a male-dominated space, it is going to rub off. So that's why you have to equally consume femininity content. That's why over the past few years, we've seen an explosion in femininity content. You have to have friends that are women. You have to engage in feminine hobbies. All of those things to refill your cup and kind of deprogram you and bring you back to a more natural, calm state when it comes to femininity. So how does this relate to me? I am a full-time homemaker. I'm at home with my children. Well, I have been spending more time with my husband, which is a dream. We've been spending a lot more quality time together. For those of you who have been here for a while, you know that he spent many years working on businesses, being very, very busy, and I wasn't able to see him at all during the day. So I'm so thankful that he's around more now. But because we're spending a lot of time together and we are also currently in this RV, I have noticed that my feminine pitch has been, less elevated, and that's something that I want to get back to because I want to be that fun, bubbly, feminine spirit for my husband because I do spend more time with him. So that's something that I'm being more mindful of myself and making sure that I connect with my other feminine friends, even if that's through just video calls, other feminine family members, making sure I'm taking time to do my feminine hobbies like I just mentioned. All those things are going to rub off on me. And by the way, I just want to say that if you hear my children in the background, they are constantly all around. For those of you who are new, nothing's wrong with them. They're just my little sidekicks, always around, so you're going to hear some babbling, and perhaps a little bit of crying once in a while. The second thing is that as a busy mother and somebody who has a lot to think about, even just running this YouTube channel, it's a passion project for me, of course, but there are still personal goals that I have with regards to this, as well as like my kids getting older, going through things like potty training. I am doing homeschool preschool. All have our problems. We all have our obstacles. But what I have been trying to be mindful when it comes to feminine communication is the way that I interact with other people with regards to my mood. If I don't feel like I am in a good mood before I communicate with somebody, I will say, hey, I'm having a bad day. It might affect my tone and the way that I communicate with you. This is especially important for those of you who are families, as well as interacting with your spouse. You don't want the tone of what you are saying to negatively impact the other person. But we are human. We are not robots. Being a traditionally feminine woman is not about turning you into a Stepford wife robot, but in a culture that, embraces showing the negative emotion all the time, I think that is healthy in a way, but on the other end of the sword, it's important to be mindful of other people and how your tone and your body language when you speak to them can really affect their mood as well and cause for an environment where they won't want to be around you. And again, this isn't about, suppressing your negative moods all the time. It's about courteousness and creating that disclaimer with other people that your communication and your mood might be a little off. This also helps you take the time that you need to reset your mood so that you can put your best foot forward, especially again, when you interact with loved ones. I've noticed myself, when I am in an overwhelmed mood, I have a tendency to say snappy remarks to those around me. And I don't notice it so much in the moment. However, when I reflect on it the next day, I realize that it really was caused by overwhelm and whatever I was going through. And it would have been better to table conversations and say, hey, I need the rest of the day to just be by myself and my own thoughts. And tomorrow I'd love to talk about such and such thing with you. Just again, to have that courteousness with the person that I'm talking to. Just a reminder for those of you who are familiar with the content of my channel, the feminine isn't just about a series of checklists of things that you have to do. It is about making yourself into that type of spirit that exudes warmth. You can really do that with your communication. Other people opening up to you, other people feeling at ease around you. But you are going to cause some resistance to that if you don't have the filter with regards to your mood. Next up is proper communication. I'm around kids pretty much all day. I think I've been not with my kids for 1 day over the past 3 years. And that's not bad. I love it. However, it can kind of cause you to simplify your language a little bit less compared to when I was a full-time student or working. So I have found that even simplistic vocabulary, I'm not using the precise term that I probably should. A very easy example to illustrate this is like saying 2 times instead of twice. Again, that's a very simplistic example, but I really am trying to make it a goal to find more precise and descriptive adjectives for the words that I've been using in my everyday language. My mother used to be the type of person that would correct me and would encourage me to use more precise vocabulary. So if you have somebody in your life like that, they are often called grammar police, but I think that grammar police, if they're your close friends and you tell them hey, you're really good at English, can you correct me once in a while because I really want to expand my vocabulary, could be a positive thing. That's something that she did with me, and I found that it rubbed off and gave me more of a proper allure when I was speaking to others. And this exudes the elegance part of femininity that many of you on this channel are trying to go for. The next thing I want to talk to you about is enunciation. This goes along again, I think, with mom brain, but I've noticed in some of my videos I haven't properly enunciated the entirety of a word. You can see that right there. I just got distracted by my kids. This is of course normal in like what is an overstimulating environment in our modern society. So keep that in mind. The modern culture, there's so much mental stimuli or haven't been properly equipped to handle that. However, it's something that I want to correct in my vocabulary, the proper enunciation of an entire word. I have found that sometimes I've been forgetting S's or to conjugate in the past tense a word. Even in this video, when I review it, that's why creating videos is something that is particularly helpful. I've also encouraged many of you before to record yourself sometimes. If you're going through a hard time, you can re-listen to it. Whatever you have to do to remind yourself to enunciate the entirety of the word. This could go along with like the sloppy society that we live in right now, just the casualness of slang terminology, but that's not something that I want for myself. I want to have a timeless vocabulary as a feminine woman, so that is something that I am working towards. The next thing is properly paying attention in conversation, which is a piggyback on the second point that I made in this video. Have you ever been in a conversation where you're talking to somebody and then you can obviously tell that they drift off, or they interrupt you and start talking about something else? It doesn't feel good. It actually is very demoralizing and sad. I don't think that people are wrong for doing that. I just, again, think it's a consequence of a modern society with constant stimuli and just casualness. However, the feminine is preoccupied with how other people feel. She does want to create that warm environment that I continuously try to accentuate on this channel. She is trying to create those deep bonds with other people, and that comes with listening to them. I have found in my own marriage, being overwhelmed with children, I have really been lacking at that lately, making sure that I have proper eye contact with my husband, making sure that my body is turned towards him, that I am not crossed off with my arms or like behind my back, that I am in a relaxed position. These are all things that help other people feel at ease when they are talking to you. If you need a moment in conversation to process what somebody else is saying, tell them before they keep talking. It is better to have a pause to process what they are saying rather than lose your train of thought in conversation or be distracted by something else. And also reiterating the second point that I mentioned in this video, if you are in a bad mood, or again, if you are distracted or needing time to process something or needing to just have a moment to think about something because you are overwhelmed, it is better to let that person know and to risk like maybe feeling or looking a little bit dumb than it is to be thinking about something else and not give the proper attention that is needed to that person in conversation. And lastly, I want to focus on what is lovely, what is good. You will hear over the next couple of weeks me talk about the term perversion, and I don't mean it in terms of the sexual way. However, a lot of what is true and good and wholesome has been perverted in today's society. That seems like a very heavy word that carries a lot of weight. It is a word that captures the attention of what is going on. There are so many extremes in today's culture that I really want to get back to talking about simplistic things, about beautiful things. This doesn't mean being ignorant to politics or what is going on in the world, but out of the spirit of caring, of being compassionate for other people, things have gotten out of hand. There is more division, especially between men and women, between different political parties than there has ever been. And we have limited time on this earth. Today could be your last day. Talking about what is lovely, what is pure, and what is true is what I'm trying to remind myself is the most important. Having conversations based on things that are fun, that are still meaningful, but that are uplifting is what I want to focus 95% of my energy on. Good gauge to know where your headspace is to pay attention to what you are posting online. What are you resharing? What are you commenting on? This can help you gauge where your energy is going. I've mentioned before that I'm somebody who is really into politics. However, I have filtered myself in not following a bunch of political pages because there's only so much that I can do, and so I have to put limitations on what I can consume. I don't want to open my social media. I don't want to be talking to my family. I see them just about those things because, again, there's so much that I can control as, you know, a feminine woman with 2 children that is a homemaker and has a husband. That is not my career. I care about it because it's the future of our societies. However, I don't want that to dominate my conversations. It's difficult to have a carefree feminine spirit if you are constantly bogged down and not focusing on what is wholesome in your life. I'm going to end the video there. I'd love to hear down below what you are focusing on currently when it comes to feminine communication. Leave your comments. Once again, if you'd like to support the channel, become a member, hit that like button, subscribe, and I will see you next time, lovely feminine friends. Bye-bye.